Ministry of Health commits to continue its aggressive testing campaign to manage the spread of COVID-19. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Monday, November 1st, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Grenada is beginning to see the benefits of its aggressive testing and vaccination campaign against COVID-19. Sunday's dashboard from the Ministry of Health revealed that no positive cases were returned from the 351 tests that were conducted. But despite declining figures, the Ministry of Health has committed to maintaining an aggressive testing campaign to manage the virus. Health and Social Security Minister Honorable Nicholas Steele says employing this method has helped Grenada to successfully control the spread of COVID-19. Over the weekend, the ministry conducted 513 COVID-19 tests and recorded one positive case on Saturday. To date, there are 123 active cases on island.
The weekend testing went quite well. As is obvious with our figures, we continue to aggressively test. So we're not becoming complacent. We still see that there's an urgency, and as such, 350 plus tests done on Sunday, 162 tests done on Saturday. On Saturday, 1 positive. On Sunday, 0 positives. We will continue to aggressively test because that is the prescribed way. It is from that we have been this successful to take control of this current wave. You need to go out and test, identify, isolate. We will continue to do that to ensure that we can find those last possible epicenters or cases, positive cases, so that we can deal with them accordingly and appropriately.
Minister Steele said testing will now be increased, especially with the ease in some regulations going forward. He addressed the phased resumption of schools from today, November 1st.
Reopening of schools is extremely heartening to us. It's one of the most positive effects of being in control of the situation right now, and that is also one of the reasons why we need to continue to test to see what may occur from that. We're all very much aware that there may be, as we bring more and more people out together, whether it is our kids out of necessity that they have to have that in-person education at some point, or ourselves coming out to work, we do run those risks, and those risks are based on whether protocols are followed and, most importantly, based on the level of vaccination. So recognizing that we do have a low level of vaccination, but also recognizing that it's absolutely necessary for our kids to get back into the classroom, and that once we monitor it, we will be able to determine whether it continues to be safe or whether the risk, epidemiological situation, or the risk changes, and that's our intention as we move forward.
Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell continues to champion the need for vaccination as a critical tool in the fight against COVID-19. Continuing to lead by example, the fully vaccinated Prime Minister received a booster shot on Monday. As is the case for other COVID-19 vaccines, it was recently recommended that persons who received 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine should receive booster shots after their second dose. It is further recommended that the booster shot can be an mRNA vaccine, such as Pfizer. Having consulted with the acting Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sean Charles, the Prime Minister who received his first and second dose of AstraZeneca earlier this year, welcomed the Pfizer booster shot. Dr. Mitchell said, and I quote, "Vaccination continues to be the best tool we have available in the fight against COVID-19. I am guided by the science, therefore I believe receiving the booster shot will further build my immunity. The science is clear. The vaccine prevents severe disease, hospitalization, and even death. Therefore, I continue to encourage Grenadians to opt for the best shot and get vaccinated. It will protect you and your loved ones. It will help safeguard livelihoods as we find the balance in living with COVID-19, and ultimately, it will protect your country as its development process will not be negatively impacted by lockdown, which is likely to occur if there is a spike in cases, unquote. Continuing the news, Grenada's ability to manage COVID-19 is sending a positive signal to the outside world. On Sunday, Air Canada returned to our shores after an almost one-year absence, bringing with it close to 170 passengers. Tourism Minister Dr. Clarice Modeste-Kerwin says it also shows that strides are being made to operate in the new normal.
That sends a very strong signal to us that, one, there is a serious appreciation of how Grenada has returned to some level of normalcy and how we have managed to contain the spread of the COVID disease. But it also tells us that the world is getting ready to live with the new normal, that while none of us can declare that we are 100% COVID-free, but we are at that level where we feel we can manage it and continue on with our lives.
JetBlue and American Airlines have also resumed flights to Grenada, and Minister Modeste-Kerwin says she is also looking forward to the resumption of cruise ships so that people in that industry can return to work.
There are very aggressive efforts in terms of working with the cruise line. They do want to come. They have schedules in the month of November, and we are just putting the nuts and bolts together to ensure that we are prepared as a nation to receive them and that we are prepared as an industry to receive our visitors to our shores under the most safe conditions possible in this COVID time.
Just 1 month ago, the UK included Grenada on its approved list of vaccinated countries. 169 passengers who arrived here on Sunday touched down to a warm Grenadian welcome. They were greeted by CEO of the Grenada Tourism Authority, Petra Roach, and other GTA officials.
Today we're here at the Maurice Bishop International Airport welcoming the return of the Air Canada flight from Toronto. We had 169 passengers on board today, and that flight will be coming in both on Wednesdays and Sundays. As you know, the Canadian market is a really important one for us. It's actually the third largest, and we had the largest number of visitors from that market in 2019, where we welcomed almost 18,000, which represented 11% of our overall numbers for that year. So we're really excited about this return. We know that this market can bring good, strong economic benefit to the country. We're also engaging in a program to get those older people who are looking for new homes, new winter homes, to come into Grenada. Obviously, they come and stay rather than for the 8 to 9 days, they stay for about 4 to 5 months. And so they're a really important market segment for us to grow.
To stimulate demand for the twice-weekly flights from Toronto on Sundays and Wednesdays, the GTA has embarked on an aggressive marketing campaign employing traditional digital and social media tactics in the Canadian market with Air Canada and the travel syndicate Travel Brands. This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
COVID-19 spreads from person to person through the droplets that are produced when someone coughs or sneezes, which makes it easy to spread between people in close contact. Now let's get prepared to stay healthy.
To reduce your chance of catching or spreading COVID-19, practice these simple everyday preventative measures. Droplets can also land on surfaces, so ensure that you wash your hands frequently for a minimum of 20 seconds or sing the happy birthday song twice. Avoid touching your face, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. If soap and water are not readily available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with an alcohol content between 60 and 90%. 70% is ideal.
When you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth with a flexed elbow or a tissue. Dispose of the tissue immediately and then wash your hands. If you notice someone has a fever and cough or other symptoms of respiratory illness, avoid close contact when possible. Let's all do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. Our health is our collective responsibility.
Welcome back. The Central Statistical Office is undertaking preliminary activities this week ahead of the official start of census activities on November 10th. These activities will include familiarizing field staff with enumeration district boundaries and a refresher training to ensure comprehensive understanding of key census methodology, concepts and definitions, and use of tablet devices and electronic platform. The 2021 census, which was initially scheduled for the month of September, was postponed to October and then later November due to the recent spike in COVID-19 cases and deaths on island. From November 10th to January 2022, the census will comprise mainly a listing activity to collect basic information from households to facilitate the full interview, which will be administered via the telephone.
From that date, the public will expect to see persons come into their homes to collect basic information. One of the important requirement is for the household to give a telephone number so that the interviews can be collected at a later date. It is important that at this first visit that the enumerators will be doing a listing of the district. We call it the enumeration district, a complete listing of the enumeration district. And then they will be collecting the telephone numbers.
That was Director of Statistics Halim Brizan. Mr. Brizan said the entire process will adhere to the COVID-19 protocols. Field officers will be required to wear masks and social distance, sanitize, and must be partially or fully vaccinated. Due to the hesitancy among the first cohort of trainees to be vaccinated, a second call for applications was made recently.
There is the requirement for all applicants to now be vaccinated, and this was as a result of our recent experience with COVID-19, and it's another measure that that we need to put in place to ensure that persons can be safely enumerated, and we will protect the public and also the enumerators as well. So that is an important requirement that the Ministry of Health told us that we need to ensure that we put in place, that all our field staff are vaccinated. So the reference date, which is the date as to when information should be collected of the household, is now the 17th of January. And that is because we are actually going out into the field with not the full complement of census staff because of the attrition, right? Or I should say because of the dropout.
He reminded the public of the importance of conducting and participating in the census.
We cannot make decisions without your information. So, because these decisions will be decisions that will benefit you. And at the end of the day, what we want to achieve as a country is sustainable development for all. And the information is not just important for the government, but the information is also important for the private sector, the churches, the media, the even persons doing degrees in universities, researchers, academia, right? They all make use of this information.
Officials hope the census period can conclude in April 2022. The slogan for the 2021 census is "Nothing about us without us, because we all count." Finally, in the news, infrastructure work continues in the south of the island on a number of small and special projects to bring further ease to motorists, residents, and businesses. At present, more than 400 feet of box and slipper drains are being constructed at a cost of $80,000 at Dusty Highway in Grenada. This forms part of government's overall plan to improve drainage in the south. Also in progress is the third phase of the Limes Playing Field upgrade project, where work has commenced on the construction of a retaining wall and bleachers to the top side of the playing field. The first phase of the project saw the excavation and leveling of the playing surface with replanting of grass. Phase 2 involved the cutting of perimeter drains and the fencing of a section of the field. The Limes Playing Field is an important field in the south of the island as it caters for most of the major community football competitions and other community sporting programs. That story just ended the national report for Monday, November 1st, recapping the top story. Ministry of Health commits to continue its aggressive testing campaign to manage the spread of COVID-19. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.